Thank you for tuning in to Naijha Speaks. I'm Naijha Wright Brown, co-owner of the Land of Kush Vegan Soul Bistro in Baltimore and executive director of the Black Veg Society. Well, how does this Bronx vegan open doors? What do you think I was going to say? With Quis. Welcome to today's guest, Marquis Butler. How are you doing today? And I got that right?
You
Quis
did get
opens
that
doors.
right. Yes, you did. Yes, definitely got that right. How you doing? Thanks for having me, Naijha. I appreciate it.
Oh no! Hey, I'm repping the Bronx. Let me tell you something. You came into the store, right? That's when you came into the store,
Most
and
definitely.
you. Let me show you this picture right here.
Uh,
Because you may think I have forgotten.
uh-oh.
Remember this?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Just chewing like you really caught me with that, and we're gonna get to that later. But thank you for supporting the Land of Kush, and
Oh,
you're from the Bronx. I definitely want to rep my Bronx vegan. So if you're a Bronx vegan out there, please reach out to me. That is my hometown. I spent 22 years in the Bronx, and definitely want to represent the Bronx vegans. So now it's all about you, Marquis. Quis is the name. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Why and how did you become vegan?
okay. In a nutshell, I became vegan after I started actually paying attention to my diet. I'm a former Christian, so I came out of the church, obviously, and a lot of family in the South, and we were eating a lot of the same things. And it seems as though family members get to a certain age, and certain things will happen to their body. So I was just looking into that and just doing my own research, and uh, juxtaposed algorithm and manifestation. Came across Dr. Sabi on YouTube, and
Wow.
his accent is so heavy. Sometimes I was like, what did he say? And then in addition to his, heavy accent, it was some things I'm like, nah, come on, I gotta research this. Garlic for real. So, Brother Polite kind of was doing translations and just like piggybacking off of what Dr. Sabi said. And I was like, this is interesting, but I don't know about it. That's crazy. And then I watched What the Health, and then I said, okay, that's enough. And then the next day I was vegan. So
What the hell will do it? What the hell?
what
Let me
the
tell
hell
you
do?
something. The
Yeah.
year that What the Hell came out, yeah, you know what? We couldn't even keep food in the store. It was just crazy. And I remember it was
Mhm.
like Vegan Soul Fest was happening. All the churches were coming out. Like
Yep.
it was just ridiculous that year. Like everyone was going vegan when What the Health came out. Now you said something interesting about you left the Christianity. Is it because there was an issue with the way you were eating? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I left what's this neo form of Christianity due to us not, all of us, not even if you're Christian, whatever religion it is, us not tapping into the God that's within us and acknowledging that the answers are here for us and not doing the work instead of just begging is one of those things that I'm highly against. Like if you're not trying to do something for yourself, like for instance, there was a lady that I love that went to church. I won't say her name. And I remember it came to a point where she was coming to church and the ailments were just getting worse and worse. And I'm like, there has to be some type of a solution that we're just overlooking. Are we going to pray and still eat the poison? So at that point, it was just a separation between there. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. I don't feel like murder is necessary in order for me to live. So, it was just a lot of things. Like I went vegan initially for the fight against me, and then I stayed vegan for the compassion and the fight against those that can't defend themselves as well.
I love it. I love it. I'm an omnist myself. So if anybody knows what that is, I find truth in all religions because everyone can't be lying. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
everyone has their journey, their spirituality. And like you said, God is in you, in me, in all of us. And we can tap into the inner God at any time and, heal ourselves and cure ourselves of a lot of things. So that's powerful what you just said. Wow, that's really interesting. And yeah, eating is very important. A lot of people, I'm glad you're on because the last live I did, there was a very interesting topic, and I'm going to bring this post up. I know you know Dr. Mills, right? The vegan doctor.
Correct.
Dr. Mills. So there was a panel discussion about should those eating meat have to sign a waiver saying if they have a heart attack, they will sit home and die and not burden hospitals. So Dr. Mills put that out there, and I formed this panel, and we had this discussion. And of course, it was a very heated discussion. And Dr. Mills is very passionate about what he believes in. And what are your thoughts about that? Having said what you said.
You know, I'm going to watch
You
my
don't have to
language.
answer the question, but I'm just saying, what are we talking about it?
I completely agree with it. The best poison that you can give someone is one that they voluntarily take and one that'll kill them slowly over time. And that's the foods that we've been eating for so long. I like that, and that is a testament to my straight from the hip approach, because people hate it when I call it, excuse my language, I hope I can say this here, I'll call people a junkie or a fiend, or lack of a better word, and compare it to that, because I'm saying exactly this. I'm just replacing the DOC, the drug of choice, with the foods that we eat. And I'm like, okay, why are you eating it? What are you eating it? If we really get to a why, your why will show you exactly where you're going. Your why will dictate where you're going. Your habits all have a destination. So what is the end result of what you're doing? So I'm in complete agreement with Dr. Mills all the time, especially with that, no sugar needed approach. I love it.
Thank you for your feedback on that. I shared also during that panel this, now, a lot of people may not realize this, but this is what the country looks like in terms of the cardiovascular disease and the death toll. So when you're thinking about what's going on with COVID right now, COVID is right now the number one killer, but heart disease, cardiovascular disease was the number one killer. So, and it probably still will be once COVID is long gone, right? So this is very important. What we eat and put into our bodies is really important, and we have to pay attention to our diet. So having said that, what are some of the challenges that you run into in the Bronx? Because, I'm from the Bronx, pushing this message and sharing the word of going vegan?
The people. You gotta get people out of their own way. And it's been a growth process, because we're all mirrors essentially. And a lot of times we don't take the advice from people that are right next to us or in close proximity, which is also a testament as to why I say charge. I have no problem with charging people. But the biggest struggles people, their answers, what they've been through, their experience versus your experience. Like, I've eaten dead bodies before, I've eaten dead animals before, I've eaten the high caloric food, I've eaten the high cholesterol causing food, I've eaten the heart clogging food before. Have you ever tried veganism? And then the conversation ensues. A lot of time it's just people just want to be stubborn and don't want to open that door to learning those things. They don't want to know those things. Like, the truth is hard to deal with. The truth sometimes hurts, and sometimes it depends on what you're going to do with that hurt. But when we only victimize ourselves, and we don't consider that there's other victims out there that can't speak for themselves, i.e. children that we feed these dead bodies to, and the dead bodies that we're actually eating, which is someone's baby as well. So, the biggest obstacle is people in themselves. The second biggest, if I could just piggyback off that, the second biggest,
absolutely,
would be the geographical nature of where the Bronx is and the culture that exists there. New York City is a store. New York City is a shopping hub. Everywhere you go, there's somewhere to shop. It's the city that never sleeps, and there's always a store open. Those stores don't always necessarily have the most healthy options. Last year, I got a chance to, do a little bit of traveling city to city with a lot of things shut down, whatnot. I went to Atlanta, and I was like, wow, this is a culture that I need to bring back home. Definitely. And so I've partnered with some store owners. I've partnered with other vegan influencers, and we're pioneering a movement where, I'm gonna go into different stores and help them. I help them curate a menu, easy to do foods, because essentially you go to a corner store, a bodega as we call them, and you'll see canned goods, things that can sit on the shelf for longer amounts of time, which usually includes preservatives. Or if you do go to the salad bar, it's usually easy choices. You could probably get the same chicken cutlets with different flavoring and different sauces, 4 different ones, and that's handling something simple. And we could easily replace that with vegan foods. And I didn't eat this many different types of foods until I went vegan, which is hilarious, because it does broaden your horizon. It expands your palate by accident, just because you are trying something different. So, but yeah, those are my obstacles, and that's what I was on to bring. I'm sorry.
No problem. I mean, this is all about you. You're the celebrity here on the show today. So, you're speaking the language. I like that you're making this plan to go in and talk to the bodegas about, changing up the shelf. Let me tell you something. I lived in Melrose Projects. We would walk up to the store and there was a bodega in the corner and then another one or so. And like you said, all canned goods, like everything canned, you could get some frozen stuff. Frozen is probably the next best option to fresh, but no one was doing that. Everyone was doing canned food to the best of my knowledge and the people that I was hanging with. So yeah, it's an educational thing. And I think that's a great move, which leads me into, how did you come up with the Black Vegans Unite? And what is it about creating that communal space? Why is it needed? Because there's always a question of, why do Black people need these spaces?
Well, especially in New York City and the culture that we're in now, we're heavily involved in a culture of mind your business. Don't tell me what to do. You always say, don't tell me how to raise my kids. You hear it all the time. And somebody has to tell you. Like, we don't want anyone to tell us what to do, but we're not willing to go out there and take the initiative to go learn it on our own. So you have to take advice from somewhere. Again, piggyback off what you said. Not everyone can be wrong. I remember when I went to school and my parents came to parent teachers night, and every teacher would say, Marquis is a brilliant kid, talks too much. Marquis is a smart kid, talks too much. Marquis is a brilliant kid, plays too much. And then after you said, no, I wasn't that. No, I wasn't. Like, by the third teacher, that Marquis, not everyone can be lying. So it starts with the conversation. It starts with us having this conversation. It starts with me sharing. It starts with people looking like myself. It starts with people looking like you, and just exemplifying what a vegan doesn't have to be and does have to be. It just starts with what you want and your why. I created Black Vegans Unite. One, because when I came into being a Black vegan, of course, I think we all do the search on YouTube and Instagram.
Right.
Black vegan, where are you? So it's like, I need to find that, because I need it from my perspective.
But why? Because it's from our perspective, right? Because a lot of times groups don't understand, why does everything have to be Black? Why Black? Why Black Veg Society? Why? Because we see what's going out there. We need the safe space. We need no judgment, because a lot of times you're trying to transition to something and it's like, you need to do all of this overnight. No, it doesn't work like that. So we need groups that are familiar with our culture, understand the language and the dialect, because that's what it is. And so this is great. Yeah, but go ahead. Go on.
Like Denzel said, he was like, why is it so important that this movie have Black people involved with it? He was like, it's not about the movie, it's about culture. He's like, a certain person who did Schindler's List, it was a person from a Jewish perspective. You know what I'm saying? When you do a certain movie and you're doing a certain movement, it is very culture based. And especially since our culture, runs the world, people naturally appropriate our culture and then don't even realize that it came from us. Like, if my child was to look up breakdancing now, he might find Asians before he finds Black people, even though we know, and you should know from the Bronx, that we had a heavy hand in that, if not the pioneers of breakdancing. But if you look now, you see everyone else does it. And one would assume, if I was born yesterday, then I would just be seeing this as, coming into it like, oh, I guess the Jabberwockies is other breakdancers, But it start again, the conversation needs to be ensued. So when I saw that there wasn't a lot of Black vegans initially, I made a space for it. And I'm like, here's where you can come and speak the way you want to speak. It's not like they act like we putting Black in front of something makes it anti anything. No, I'm just pro something. I realize that my people are heavily attacked by the foods that we eat. Unknowingly and unbeknownst to us, what we're putting into our body. So it starts with the conversation with a little bit of education. And my approach to it is that I'll just, I'll make a joke of it, or I'll go really harsh with it, or, or smoking a cigarette. Or a doctor smoking a cigarette, I asked them the same thing. Like,
it's a level of trust.
Yeah,
it's a level of trust. Exactly. So I'm glad you answered that, because that's the most important thing, that we're building trust. So not get caught up that this is it seems like when we're always getting together, it appears as a threat or opposition or whatever. So I'm glad you said that. Tracy McQuirter came out with the first ever African-American vegan starter guide. And in that guide, and anyone that needs to find it, it's African American Vegan Starter Guide.com. You can download it. It's free. She highlights the history of, Blacks being vegan and vegetarian, starting with the Seventh-day Adventists. And then, you have the Rastafarians living the Ital lifestyle. So this is not new to us. We didn't just get born a couple of years ago and everybody all of a sudden. This has been a lifestyle for many of us. So we're just bringing back the message. We didn't glorify it. We didn't commercialize it. We didn't do all of that stuff.
It wasn't called vegan then. It was just those lifestyles, and that's completely correct. Yeah, we didn't the phrase being coined so much, like it was a long time before I even called myself a vegan because of the connotations that come with being called a vegan. And I'm like, now I accept it because again, it's the conversation that ensues from it. I love when people even come at me, like being from the Bronx, I'll be on the block, I'm like, that's not vegan. Like I'll make a vegan chopped cheese for a while. And I'll make it for people. Like that's another way I get people to try it. Like they'll see people. It's so dope that a lot of times, people that have had my cooking pre-vegan, they would expect my cooking now to be good. So when they do see me, that's not vegan. I'm like, you sure? You want to try it? And that's how the conversation. So I love it. Test it. Even when I was a Christian, they say, try God. Yeah, try it. Yeah, please do try this. Question it. Everything you see me doing, eating, drinking, where I am, question it on veganism, against veganism, because then the conversation is the seed is planted. A lot of times no times you don't have to force anything. It's really just the influence. The seed gets planted regardless.
Leading by example. They see you, they get curious, and everyone's not going to go. We already know that.
Right.
Everyone's not going to go, but it doesn't hurt to educate, and those people may take a little bit of that education and implement a little bit in their lifestyle. And who knows? It took me 3 years to transition fully, so you never know what's going to happen.
That's the funny thing. So I knew vegans, and they weren't that vegan. The one that that vegan, one of those vegans. He was just like, nah, I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I just don't do that. And it wasn't, I was like, all right, whatever, I'll eat it for you. But yeah, it's a conversation. I knew vegans previous to this, and I just didn't know that they were vegan, and I didn't know what it was. It's really just a coined phrase that'll help people understand it, attach it to something so that we can have a conversation.
Right. Well, vegan was birthed out of vegetarianism. The definition of vegetarian, where vegetarians, pure vegetarians exist, because when Land of Kush opened up, we were Land of Kush vegetarian cuisine, and we had no eggs, no dairy, no honey in our food. So, but of course people come in and they have that question, is it vegan? Yeah, it's 100% pure vegan. Okay. I don't even know why eggs and dairy are in the definition of vegetarian anyway. They have nothing to do with vegetables, but that's a whole nother conversation, with the changing of definitions, but this is a great conversation. I want you to talk to us about your consulting and your coaching. I mean, you do a lot of things, you said curating. What exactly do you do, and how are you doing it?
It is a need base, because even with the food, those that have not had my food, they trust. So like you said, they trust someone that looks like you. They trust me. They'll see me on a day-to-day basis. So leading by example, they have these questions. So I guarantee you there's someone out there that's watching that is thinking about going vegan, or that will go vegan, because there's definitely going to be someone that goes vegan after this. You're going to go vegan.
Hello.
I put it out there. I have to. You're going to go vegan, and just by you existing, you're going to create this influence in this circle around you of people that when they do want to go vegan, you're going to be a go-to. So with great power comes great responsibility. So by me being a go-to and people trusting me, I just became these things. Like I've had people that already cook food. They make plates. That's a nice hustle, a nice business that we've been privy to for a while. And they'll ask me, Quis, what you like to eat? What kind of and add things to the menu. And then after a while, it becomes time consuming after 2 or 3. And then one of my mentors said, you need to be charging. So I was like, oh. And it became a business. So now when I go into certain restaurants and I'll even if I order food, naturally, if I order food, if I go to a restaurant and I'm communing with family or friends and I don't want to be, say, oh, is it a vegan spot? I'll figure something out, or I'll eat before I get there until we get to where we have a plethora of options in every place.
Right. Right.
I'll sit there and I'll order something vegan. And I'm like, they'll come out. Sometimes the chef will come out, or the host will come, or the cook, someone will come out. I'm like, so are you like, how do, so what, questions always start the conversation. So they'll come and ask me, so what is it about? And I'm like, well, you could just do this. This could easily replace this. It's no cost difference either. Actually, you'd be saving money if you change this to this simply. And
I love it.
People, there's nothing that people love more than cost efficiency without slacking on quality. If you can give that to a business, you've now created a system, and you need to be charging for that. So even with the coaching, people call me, and then you're taking time out of your day. You're taking time out of your life to assist people with other things that they want to better their life, and you can better their life because you've bettered yours. Right. So now, again, you are now a consultant because people are going to call you and ask. And then once it gets to a high level, you really want to make it beneficial for you and the person. And many times, this is why people charge for memberships. A lot of people don't really read the whole book. A lot of people don't complete the membership.
Right.
A lot of
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
All this stuff and you don't read it.
Planet Fitness thrives off of you staying where you are, because there are plenty of people that are paying for that membership that aren't showing up to the gym. So again, but you want to make it, but you aren't a location, you're a person, you're a being, you're a vessel. So if you're going to take the time, which is your being and your presence, to be in someone else's life and better their life, make it beneficial to both of you. Most people don't appreciate it unless they put a high ticket on it, unless there's something that they value. The only reason we spend money is because whatever we're spending the money on, we value more than the money. So if they value going vegan, they value their fitness, they value their goals, they're going to pay you, and you're going to put your efforts into it because you're being paid for your time, and you actually have a duty to do this, and you want to do this, and you naturally do it. So that's how I got into that. I got into coaching by ways of that, and curating menus just by eating.
So I want to connect with you. We do the Vegan Restaurant Week, Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week, and there's plans to expand. So I got your name jotted down. I'm going to be reaching out to you on how we can kind of get the New York scene, even if it is just starting with the Bronx, on board with that. So, I love to collaborate. I'm a collaborator, and I just, that's my hometown. I love New York. When I go out there, I go to Uptown Veg in Harlem. I go to V Spot in Brooklyn, so, I have my spots that I go to when I'm out there, and it's always a great time when I'm in New York. Talk to me about your thrifting. You said you're an avid thrifter. Now, I know, please, because everyone thinks, going vegan is expensive. And yes, if you're spending your money on certain products and going to certain stores, yes, but I do know a lot of vegans that are thrifty. As a matter of fact, one of our social media managers, Destiny De Jesus at Eat Your Destiny, she always talks about being a thrifty vegan. So what is that to you? What are you doing to be thrifty?
Man, in this consumer culture and us being the ones that put out over $1 trillion from our pockets to other people.
Say it again. We put out how much?
Over $1 trillion out of our own community into other communities, and not necessarily $1 trillion coming right back into our community. With that being said, yeah, man. We're building this community because it's a necessity, and it's where Black people are spending over. They're spending too much money on things that really don't matter in the long run. I get it. If you want to treat yourself to something nice, go ahead and do that. But if you're just doing it to show off for somebody else and keep up with the Joneses, I wouldn't suggest it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I highly wouldn't suggest it. I remember when I was young, my mom and dad used to take me to Goodwill, and I used to hate it because this ego thing in my head, like, oh, this is where poor people go. I don't want to be here because, I'm like, wow. But by like 16, 15, when I came into my own and realized, like, oh, fashion is definitely what I make it, and really being fashion forward, I started making great fashion decisions and finding really cool things. I found designer. I still find designer in thrift stores all over. And then after that point, people wanted to buy things like, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, they don't make that even. And you'll get it from both sides, especially like with retro sneakers and things like that. You'll get it from the older crowd, like, or people that know things like, oh, they don't make, Christian Dior doesn't even do the embroidered polo. Where'd you get? And a conversation ensues. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I'll start to sell these things now. So I started going in Goodwill and little mom and pop stores and the Salvation Army, and you'll come up on a lot of gold in there, and you'll save money with no slack to your fashionability at all. You can still get fly and save $1 and put that money elsewhere instead of I have friends that specifically go get designer from these stores and have these deals, and I've seen the Louis Vuitton Jet Set Tote, the I want the suit bag. Like, I'm not gonna pay the price for the suit bag, but when I find the suit bag, I'm gonna let all of you guys know. But yes, that's definitely how I got into thrifting. I love old stuff. I love classic stuff, and older things were usually made with more love and more time and
Right.
heavier. I love old
Right.
stuff and I love classic stuff. So that's really why I got into thrifting. It's a funny story because I used to hate it, and now my mom's like, "Oh, you remember it?" I'm like, "Yes, I remember."
And you'd be surprised. Like, people always think that the thrift stores are for people that are low income or poor, but no, there's people that have a lot of money that go into the thrift store. So don't be mistaken. That's that. I go in there. I was going in there when my child was young. Yeah,
No,
So
be mistaken. Don't go.
You never know who's
Don't
shopping
go. More
in
stuff
there.
for me. Don't go. More stuff for me. But I guarantee you, if you do go and once you 1 or 2 trips, you're like, oh, I can just get that from here. And I'm telling you, even people that in the rehabbing business, because I'm connected with some friends that are into real estate now, which is blowing my mind.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's blowing my mind. But
Awesome.
that specifically go into these thrift stores and get furniture and applique and wall hangings and are saving money because they already got the contract for how much they can spend. Their check is cut, and what they're getting is coming out of that check. So now they're making exponential? That's the word, right? Exponentially more money than they were before. Just by anyway, I'm sorry. I love thrifting.
I love talking. Let me tell you something. I could talk business, money, investing, and all that stuff because I'm into that as well. So, and it always surprised me when people are crying broke, but then I see they have all of this stuff. Now, I'm not going to be in anybody's pocketbook. What you spend your money on is your business, but then you can't cry later.
Come on.
When you're faced with other challenges where you need to invest money. You know what I'm saying? So, it goes both ways. The community spend, I see people driving luxury cars, fueling them up with premium gas, and then filling their bodies up with junk. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is your machine. You got to live with this for at least 100 years. And if I'm going to fuel anything with premium gas, it's going to be my body. But that's a whole nother conversation. What do you do to have a good time? Well, before we start with that, do you have any upcoming projects? Anything that you're working on? I know you said you're going to be you're working with curating bodegas and things like that, but any major projects? Do you plan any events? I saw you shaking it up with Sunny's Peaks. Y'all do some things. Do you do any events or anything like that?
Yes, we do events. I am willing to collaborate with others. I have a couple of companies and organizations that I'm linking with. Some not even vegan. Like we're linking up with Team HD NYC. That's Team HD NYC, and they do brunch every weekend, and it's us in there.
Wow.
So
wow.
ran by us.
Wow.
I'm working with him right now, curating his menu. We're going to be meeting Monday, actually, curating their vegan menu. Sunny Speaks, great friend, dope person. I met her online, and she came to New York City to Black Veg Fest by Amawale.
I was there the last what is it? The last one they had Saturday. Black Veg actually sponsored it, Black Veg Society, and I spoke for a few minutes. So I was out there.
See, I didn't go to the last one. It was a few years.
It was back. Nice. It was really nice.
I should have, but I'm like, just like you said, I do a lot. I'm now getting into, like, I just finished this book, Who Not How. I'm getting into.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. The collaborating.
So you mean I gotta bring you back on for that? Okay, I got you.
We will. Let's do that. We oftentimes get caught. The synopsis is we get caught up in how we can get it done instead of who can help us get it done. So now I'm taking a leg back and like, I don't need to do everything. Knowing how is great, because when you get to McDonald's, you pretty much do everything, and then that's why they hire from within, because you've ran the test of time, you've done your due diligence. So now I've taken a leg back and I've delegated. Now I got other people answering emails or other people answering this or doing this. At a low end level right now, but
that's fine. You're
as
getting
things are
help. I
growing,
mean, that's how you scale up in business. You got to find help, the people to help you do what you need to do to push the goal, the mission forward, and push the company forward. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, Team
Oh, no
HDNYC,
problem.
I'm sorry. Team HDNYC, we're working with them. So we're gonna be in there. I'm definitely gonna have that as an announcement. Sunny Speaks. She's still doing the vegan sexy party. We're gonna have another vegan sip and shop coming soon at a different location. She's going city to city, but the funny thing is that I just said I wanted to go to Atlanta. And we were on the phone saying, I was like, I want to go to Atlanta. I got to get down there. I want to see what's going on. I've never been there since I was like 2 years old. She said, so when do you want to go? Set a date right now. Called me on my Libra undecisiveness. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I said, but I want to make money while I'm down there. We got to do something. We got to do an event. She's like,
right.
She said, yep, let's do something. I'm like, all right, like a sipping. And then she started the vegan sipping shop. We went down there. She gathered all these vendors. We get down there, and it was a bunch of mostly vegan vendors, but all Black vendors. Something different. That's how this came about, because this logo was just something that I wanted. And
it looks amazing. I love it. Like I said, it really drew my attention when you came into the land of Kush. And it took so long for me to connect with you and get you on the show, because that was like that was before. Was that during COVID or before COVID? I forgot when I met you, but it was a while ago, and we've been playing this DM tag.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love everything that you're saying and everything you're doing. I haven't met Sunny yet, but my friend April Sampe, who's a musician, they were supposed to be having some event in October, and I would have had a chance to, connect with them. But, my schedule is really tight. So I am looking forward to meeting her. I heard her cuisines are really, really good.
Have you guys spoke?
No, I don't think we've ever spoken, me and Sunny. No. All I would love to have her on the show.
I got you. I
would love to have her on the show. I mean, she seems amazing. I would love to connect with her.
I'm also connecting with Scott Bernhard. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of him. He's a Bronx vegan as well. We actually
connect. I want all my Bronx vegans. This is in Baltimore. I got your back. So Baltimore could always reach out. This is my new home. But Bronx, definitely. I want the Bronx vegans. I had the what is it? The poet, the vegan poet, the boogie down poet on last year. So I definitely want to represent the Bronx town.
Me and Scott are going to be doing an episode soon, so I'll keep y'all posted on that as well.
Absolutely.
You haven't had him on your show either?
No, I haven't had him yet. I'd love to meet him and connect with him, so that'd be great. We're making connections. See, this is where Black vegans unite. This is what it's all about. Right here on Naijha Speaks. So this is good. This is a good time for a commercial break. So you want to follow Marquis Butler at Quis Open Doors and Black Vegans Unite on IG. This Saturday is the GBB Veg Fest at Union Market in Washington, D.C. The founder is Andy Nevers. He's also founded Plantarian Podcast. You can find out all the information about the GBB Veg Fest this Saturday at gbb-vegfest.com. T. Colin Campbell, the author of the China Study, is going to be speaking. Seth Goldman is going to be there. He's the founder of Eat the Change and a lot of other things. Eat the Change is a sponsor of Black Veg Society, so I'm looking forward to connect with Seth again and interview him. And it's just going to be a ton of fun. gbb-vegfest.com. You want to be there on Saturday. As a matter of fact, let me show you the flyer. I have the flyer here. It is right here. GBB Veg Fest, hosted by Green Body Brand, powered by Plantarian, from 11 to 6 at Union Market in Washington, D.C. this Saturday. You definitely want to be there. I want to shout out some of my sponsors. I'm contributing for Jane Unchained News, award-winning journalist Jane Velez Mitchell. So thank you for supporting us. Welfare World, Veg Fund, Mercy for Animals, nutritionfacts.org. And I mentioned Eat the Change, and individual supporters like yourself. So continue to support us. Go to blackvegsociety.org. We want to continue bringing this content, events, webinars, all that type of stuff. And please share, like, subscribe, comment on naijaspeaks.com. naijaspeaks.com, because this is what we do. We expose you to people that are doing the work, and this is where Black Vegans unite. We have some comments that came in. I want to make sure I shout out my folks. Thanks for sharing the live. Tom is a loyal viewer. I appreciate you. It's nice to see you tuning in, Tom. My day is growing great because I'm connecting with my Bronx peeps. So energy is way high. Someone said, I love that vegan. So when you made a mention of that vegan earlier today, they love that. Thank you for that comment. Earthlings.com. Yes, earthling.com. If you haven't seen Earthlings, go to earthlings.com. That's a website folks are directing you to. Leah, thank you. Yay, love you. Thank you. We love you too. Thank you for tuning in. And then you have some fans here. Virtual Reality 2 Quis, they got you. BX Vegan in the building. Yes, fly guy. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in. All right, we got all of that out. What is the most important message that you would like to share? And we've already talked about how people can follow you, but if you want to repeat that, then you're welcome to. So what is the most important you want to share before we leave for the day?
The most important takeaway, tap into your why. Tap into your why. Take a moment back. We get so automated at times. Tap into our why and understand why you're doing something. And I think that is a definite takeaway that I want to give you guys. Just please tap into your why, because a lot of even eating the dead bodies was even a thing I had to sit back and like, why? You know, so just always acknowledge your why and your goals in your day-to-day life. Acknowledge your why, please acknowledge your why. Again, it's Quis Open Doors, aka the BX Vegan. Here, you can follow me, Quis Open Doors, QUIS. That's Quis Open Doors. Black Vegans Unite on Instagram. You can reach me if you want to get merch. If you want to pick up the shirt, guys. If you want to get a hat, you want to get stickers. I
gotta get mine. I totally, when I saw it, I said, you know what? I said I was going to get a hat and a shirt, so I got to get mine.
We're going to make sure we get that to you, Naijha. We have to get that over to you. Stickers, patches. If you guys want to do that, go ahead and DM me. Again, that's Quis Open Doors, QUIS Open Doors, or Black Vegans Unite on IG. Also, we have a Facebook page for both. If you want to join the Facebook group for Black Vegans Unite, feel free. If you are a Black-owned business, you have a product or service that is vegan friendly, please feel free to promote your business there and promote yourself there, promote your brand there. Quis Open Doors, BX Vegan. Thank you so much, Naijha, for having me. I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. And I can't have you leave until I ask this one question. Being from the Bronx, and we know that the Bronx is the birth of hip hop, who is your favorite artist or your hip hop artist? I couldn't let you leave.
No, I thought I was hungry. I was about to call my mom. I did it. Oh God.
While you think about that, thank you, Sophia Ramos. She loves this great interview with a powerful, fun, kind, innovator, hot, compassionate being. Patricia, thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Jeez, oh man, I don't know. It's gonna be unfair. It's gonna be totally unfair. Can I give a top three?
Give me top three then. Give me top three.
All right, I'll go Jay-Z.
Okay.
Just to get the ice on. Okay, Jay-Z. There's a hip hop artist right now. He's not well known, but I'm gonna put him out there because
that's okay, because this is what this is about. I love to expose the underexposed. This is not about getting celebrities on. If this is somebody we need to know, who is it?
Trey Snatch. That's TRESNATCH. Trey Snatch. He also is a consultant, a credit repair consultant with Black Pyramid. In addition to Brian Hippolyte, who is a manifestation coach. These gentlemen have an album out. It's on Tidal. You need to go check it out. If you just type in Brian Hippolyte or Trey Snatch, it'll come up, and their music is infusing the community with financial literacy,
Nice.
awareness of self, you know what
Nice.
I'm saying? Mental health. They're attacking all these issues with, I'm getting chill bumps, I'm sorry. They're attacking all these in their music. And I played it in the car the other day. Now, who's this? And I love it because I swear to God, just be the change that you want to see in the world, because the more that you become that change, the more the universe is going to move in your favor and bring those people around you. I met these gentlemen through Sunny. And then
Nice.
I connect with them on a different level. So it's crazy. That would be my number 2. And then number 3, I'm going to have to say Rakim.
Okay, you got one of them. My husband loves Rakim. That's one. KRS is his number 1. Like when he found out I was from the Bronx and he was asking me about, when hip hop came out, it was kind of like, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when I moved down to the Baltimore and met my husband, and my husband, he found out I was from the Bronx, the birth of hip hop. It was all about KRS, and I'm like, well, I wasn't really, whatever. And he was from the Bronx. That is his number 1 person.
When people aren't from where you're from, that's why white people take a lot of things that we create and appropriate it as their own. A lot of other cultures take things that we create and appropriate as own, because we don't really study what we're naturally good at. Once we're naturally good at it and it's like every day for us, we don't really care for it. So I live around the corner from where hip hop was born, Cedric, and I'm like,
yes.
I had no idea for years that it was right there. The projects is right. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. And then people from out of town, or an old head that really likes, really knows hip hop, or even somebody like I met white boys in Washington. Like, my boy knows more hip hop than I do because they have an appreciation for it. And it's almost like you did a disservice to the Bronx if you can't quote these people. But yeah, KRS-One definitely infuses for the information, and Rakim for that smoothness, because Rakim is an innovator with the way he delivered his rhymes. And I'm all more about cadence. Like, oh, I could bump to the way you're rapping, like a cappella. So that's why
Exactly. Yes. So KRS, and he became vegan because of KRS. When KRS came out with the beef and was talking about the food, so that's how he became vegan. This is my husband. So I became vegan because of health reasons. It wasn't because of hip hop, but he was inspired by KRS-One. So yeah, that was definitely his number 1 guy right there.
That's dope.
Yeah. He's a definitely a hip hop head. Like he loves hip hop, especially that underground hip hop. He loves the Roots. We just went to see the Roots last Friday. Yeah, live, great performance.
I was sitting there like, what could I do? I had a little bit of, I'm like, and I totally missed it. And I was in Philly. It was like, oh my God, like,
yeah. Well, this was in Baltimore. They were in Baltimore last Friday, but I know they went to Philly. They were on tour. Sophia Ramos says Mike Love is awesome too. You did a good job, because I can't even pick. I mean, when I think of the hip hop, I'm thinking about the ladies of hip hop back then. I was definitely into MC Light. I was into the positive hip hop, the conscious hip hop, positive messages. I love Queen Latifah, definitely, UNITY. That was one of my favorite songs. And yeah, so I really, shout it out to the women. And from the men, it's hard. I was into Nas, I was into, Tupac. So it was just, so many. So thank you for answering that.
All right, let me think about, because I like even Huna. I've always been a Huna How person, like by wayside, because in our community, the number one thing, we'll commune with each other. We'll meet somewhere. We'll be in school, work, neighborhood, and like, they're coming out with a new movie. They putting out a new song. They
exactly.
Who is they? Which is the? They thought when I used to buy CDs and go through the jack, like, did you know Alicia songs? Jack is doing background vocals, so it's like it takes a team, and like
salt and pepper. I'm just bringing, like, you talking to now is bringing that salt. I'm talking about that, back then, this is great. This is great.
The original Cinderella from my neighborhood.
Right, exactly. Wow, awesome. Quis, it was so great to talk to you. We definitely ran out of time. I went over, but I'm gonna give the Bronx extra time because that's my hometown. Folks, please tune in again. Stay tuned to Naijha Speaks. I got some more fabulous guests that will be coming on, so you definitely want to follow me at Naijha Speaks on Instagram, and go to naijaspeaks.com. And if you're watching the replay, please let me know you're watching the replay and share your comments and let me know if you're enjoying the content. Be safe, everyone. We're still in a pandemic. Hit that like button. We're still in the pandemic, so be safe. Take care of yourself. Love you. Love your families. All right. Have a good one. Peace out.
Peace.